All right. Uh, Today, basketball. Everybody, take a look at your study guide. This is what we're going to be doing for the next 5 weeks. The next 5 weeks. And when I say 5 weeks, it's a lot to go. It's a lot to go over. So you got to pay attention when we do these certain little things that I'm gonna ask you to do in basketball. All right. So look, the first thing we're looking at is the history of basketball. Basketball was invented during the school year of 1891 and 92 at Springfield College, Springfield, Massachusetts. Dr. James A. Naismith convinced the idea of attaching a peach basket at opposite ends of the gym on the track and encircle the playing floor. And this started off the brand new game they came up called basketball. Now, a lot of my basketball enthusiasts or people that say they play basketball, you should know of Dr. James Naismith because there's a prestigious award that has his name attached to it. And when you win that Naismith award, you are actually down to be the next in the basketball world. So hopefully you guys, if you need more information about Dr. James Naismith, please look him up. Uh, he actually invented a couple more things versus in this game. This is where the height of 10 feet for the basket was arrived. The game basketball derives its name from the original ball and basket used in the games. The game was introduced in YMCA's across America and also to foreign countries. Basketball became a part of the Olympic Games in 1936. That's when the first Olympic basketball game was played. The object of the game. All right, so the object of the game is to score more points than your opponent. Hopefully tonight we do that. All right, because you guys know we got a basketball game tonight. Make sure we do that particular thing, score more points. The object of the game is to score more points than your opponent. The ball is passed, thrown, bounced, batted, or rolled around from one player to another. A player in possession of the ball must maintain contact with the floor with 1 foot, which is a pivot foot, unless the player is shooting, passing, or dribbling. Physical contact with an opponent can result in a foul if the contact impedes the desired movement of the player. Basic rules: 5 players per team on the floor at the time with unlimited substitutions. Usually, players will fill the standard position of 2 forwards, 2 guards, and 1 center. The names of these many can be changed depending on the offense played. Um, you have different variations of what people call these players. Uh, these were the first standards. Now you got coaches calling them swing guards, uh, swing man, which is a forward slash guard, or twos and ones. With ones being what? Guards, point guards. So you could change these names to different variations so people can have better understanding because sometimes you have to label everything for players to know what's going on or when we do this in PE. All right, so basic rules. Going to number 2, offense, team or individual patterns are played, which are used to get the ball into scoring position. There are 2 basic types of offensive attacks: the slow, deliberate attack and the fast break attack. Defense. Players may choose to play either a man-to-man defense, or which is person to person, or zone, which is standing in one position to stop people from getting to the basket. In man to man, each player is assigned a specific person to guard, play defense on. In zone defense play, players are assigned a specific area to guard. The object of defense is to try to take the ball away from your person or persons in your assigned zone area. To force them to force them then to turn over the ball. Primarily, defenses are put in place to stop people from scoring. If you let the team score, they will eventually outscore you. That's why now the game has become so prevalent that coaches are going to certain situations to teach you how to stop players from scoring and how to score. That's why training is super important. And I tell you guys, I'm always at the school. All you guys need to ask me if you want some extra training. You need to let me know because I can help you with your game. Scoring field goals equals 2 or 3 points. Free throws equals 1 point. Timeouts. Timeouts are 1 minute or 30 seconds in a length and can be requested during a dead ball or anything by the team in possession of the ball. Timing. High school. Now this is for high school rules only because this is a high school. This is actually a high school PE syllabus. All right. Timing. High school varsity games played 4 8-minute quarters. Time stops each time an official blows the whistle indicating a dead ball. There is 1 minute between quarters and 10 minutes at the half. Player has 10 seconds to shoot a free throw. A player has 5 seconds to inbound the ball. Running time is used in physical education and intramural situations. The clock does not stop dead balls. In some situations, some people think the clock should stop the ball, but it doesn't. Now, if everybody take a look on the board for a second, looking at the diagram of a basket, and I believe Ms. Odom asked that question yesterday, or Ms. Seal asked that question yesterday. Uh, Basketball court. This is the basketball court high school dimensions. Everybody take a look at these dimensions on the paper that you have. All right. If you just want to look up, you can. So a high school basketball court is 80 feet long. That's the whole length of the court, 50 feet wide. That's what it's supposed to be. You do have some courts around our area has the new standard. Our school has that new standard. Some schools up further up the road, like Mount Herman, don't have that standard. All right, so the court corners are a little smaller. So when you play in that gym, you got to be careful not to step out of bounds. So the paint is 12 feet wide, and they're talking about this area right here. When it says the lane in basketball terminology, that's called the key. All right, the key. The reason why they call it the key is the key. That's the key to getting to the goal. All right, that's the key to getting to scoring in the scoring position. So the lane paint is 12 feet wide. The length of the free throw is 15 feet from the basket, and the height of the basket is 10 feet. And as you look at the diagram, when we get to the exam, you guys will have to label these certain spots on the floor. Now, I'm not going to do all these marks. I just want to know certain areas. I mean, I'm not going where you need to. I'm not going to put on the test. You need to put 2 inches, 8 feet deep, and all that stuff. I'm not looking to do that. I just want to know the specific areas on this court. All right. All right, so underneath the diagram, you see where it says the play. The game is started. All right, so when everybody has looked at a basketball, hopefully has seen a basketball game before, or you at a game and you don't understand what's going on. This is how a game is started. The play. The game is started with a jump ball in the center of the circle between two opponents. Player is out of bounds when touching the floor or outside the boundary line. The ball is out of bounds when it touches a player who is out of bounds or any other person of the floor or any object on the outside boundary or the supports of the backboard. Meaning, if the ball touches any part of the out of bounds area. And we'll go back to this diagram. If I'm standing underneath the goal and the ball touches my body or touches my leg and it rolls out of bounds, who's it out on? Me. It's not out on the person that made the ball go out on you, but it is out on me. So they eventually they get possession of that basketball. Now, if the ball rolled past me and it doesn't touch me and I jump out the way, it's out. It's going to be the possession is probably going to go to the team that I'm on. So you just got to be paying attention in certain spots of the game. I can tell you that's a lot of people don't understand when the heat of the game start, but that's one of the most heated moments in the basketball game. Trying to find out who the ball goes out on, because if we get into a physical position where both of us are going for the basketball, I'm touching the ball and he's touching the ball, and then it goes out on my fingers last, but we don't know. We are both probably standing there. Hey, it's out on him. It's out on him, and he's probably doing the same thing at me until the referee comes in and makes that call. It's out on you. They ball. All right. So that is an emotional part in that game because it could cause a lot of conflict. Sometimes we might think, oh, the referee just giving you that. But we can't get into that situation. We got to think bias in basketball. And I'm going to talk a little bit about being biased in this game because you have to have that biased attitude sometimes because you don't know which way the game is going to go. All right, so I'm at point number 4. The ball is caused to go out of bounds by the last player touching it before it goes out. The ball will be awarded for out of bounds for a throw-in by the opposing team. While the ball is alive, an offensive player cannot remain for more than 3 seconds in that part of the free throw lane between the end line and the free throw line. And the free throw lane in the free throw lane line. So you can't be in certain areas. If you're in certain areas, you can be called for that particular possession to go, cause that particular possession to go to the other team. So you have to be careful. If an offensive ball handler while in the front court is closely guarded by the defensive for 5 seconds, a violation is called and the defense is awarded the ball. Meaning, if I'm taking the ball out, if I'm standing here, going back to the diagram, if I'm standing here taking the ball out, and if everybody can see that, if I'm taking the ball out and the referee is in the corner saying 1, 2, 3, 4, and his hand is doing this. He's going to get to 5. If you don't get that basketball in the game in play in 5 seconds, that ball automatically goes back to the opposing team. All right. So we have point right where it says if the two opponents are both firmly holding the ball, a jump ball is called. A jump ball is the result of an alternated possession in which it is kept from track of at the official table. They're supposed to keep official scores and official fouls. All of those things are supposed to be kept at the scores table. Now, one thing about our scores table, people sometimes don't pay attention. They can lose track of what's going on. If that person loses track of what's going on, sometimes things can get mishandled and actually can cause a team to lose. So that's why these things have to be counted every step. That's why, as a coach, as a basketball coach, I go to the extreme measure of having another person on my bench call it, making sure they're marking everything that's going on for the game. So I have another statistician that's sitting on the bench, making sure they're calling fouls right. They're making sure that the points are right, and so on and so on. Because sometimes if you coaches, I can tell you, Do you think that's on my mind? That's not on my mind at that point, unless it really it happens right in front of me. As a coach, I am focused on the game and what's happening in that game. But at the same time, that's why I have these statisticians doing that job to making sure that nothing goes wrong. Because I can tell you, it can go sideways quick if you're not paying attention all the way around. And the last two in the physical education intramurals or pickup game, a jump ball is awarded to the defender. And the last one, it says violations include causing the ball to go out of bounds, double dribbling, running with the ball, kicking the ball, striking the ball with the fist, or interfering with the basket, illegal throwing. So all of those things can actually cause you to have a violation. All right, so it said that, and this is the last question I was reading. This is the end of it. It says more than 5 seconds or stepping on the line, being closely guarded for 5 seconds while in possession of the ball in the front court, and 3 second and the 3 second lane rule. Now let me get to that 3 second rule. Players hate this. All players that I've coached or players that I played with in my lifetime, they hate that call. You know why? Because part of your foot could be inside of this lane. If I just think keep going like that. If your foot is inside of this lane the whole time, that referee is going to be standing right here in the back, and he's going to be 1, 2, 3. You got to be in and out. If you're 3 seconds more, if you're standing in the lane more than 3 seconds, that's a violation, and that ball goes to the opposing your opposing team. That rule is for you cannot stay in the lane that long to try to guard somebody. Basically, that's that lazy player that wants that offensive player to just come to him. You have to be moving around in the lane to make a play, to make a defensive play. Not just, I'm going to just wait for him. And then, guess what? You got that referee saying, 1, 2, 3. If you're in the lane, if this happens 3 or more times, that actually results into a technical foul. All right, so yes, it actually results in a technical foul in the professional leagues. All right. The last term at the bottom. It says after one team makes a field goal or a free throw, the other team puts the ball into play from out of bounds under the basket or whatever under the basket at which the goal was made. Each team possessing the ball is required to advance it past half court. Guys, when you try to pass it half court, you got 10 seconds. And I express this to my players at all times. We got 10 seconds. 10 seconds is a lifetime in basketball. So when we out there rushing, I get upset when we rush trying to get the ball past half court. Because when we're rushing, what usually happens when you rush? Not just turn it over. You don't think. You don't think. When you rush, give me an honest opinion. If you rushing, do you honestly be thinking? Think about it. Sometimes when you rush into something bad happens, right? You might hurt yourself or cut your finger, or your parents might be trying to rush you to come do this and you stump your toe. Just little things like that. I've been when my mother rushed me to come. I was trying to put my belt on. She rushed me, and I'm like, man. And soon I turned around. My face, ran right into to the side post of the door, and I was looking. She said, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm looking at her like, "Well, you rushed me, so I ran into the door." How did you run into the door? Because you kept blowing the horn, and I had to come. And she was like, you just don't pay attention. But at the same time, I would have paid attention if we wouldn't have been rushing. So every time you rush, you don't really think. Things happen. Now, as in a basketball game, defense, if we're playing defense, we want that offense to rush and hurry up so we can make them make mistakes. That's the object of the game. All right, fouls. Fouls are mainly personal, involving pushing or charging or tripping, holding, or body contact. And fouls change every year. In our rules of high school basketball, they change every year. After the fifth personal foul on a player, the player is disqualified from the game. The offended player is awarded one basket free throw. If the foul occurred during a field goal attempt and a basket was made, that means two. I'm sorry, that goes back to one. So if I foul one of you guys going to the goal and you make the shot, how many how many free throws do you take? Listen to what I said again. If I foul you going to the goal, and y'all can answer this. If I foul you going to the goal and you make the shot, how many shots do you get at the free throw line?
One.
You get one shot. That is a extra shot you're getting because of the contact that I gave. So that's the penalty. That is a penalty on the defensive player for doing that. Now, and you can answer this question. If I foul you shooting the ball and you don't make the shot, how many shots do you get at the free throw line? You get two. It depends where you're shooting the ball from, right? Let's go for two. We're in the 2 point. We're in the lane for 2 points. So you're shooting two shots, right? So you just got to remember what these calls are and how these calls come about. All right. So the next term, it says 2 free throws if the foul occurred during a field goal attempt and the basket was missed. No free throw. The ball is awarded to the offended player and the team's out of bounds. Now, if I did a common foul, if you was trying to dribble to the goal and I grabbed your hand and they call foul, what are we doing? What is the call?
Reach in foul.
Okay, they reach in, but what will the referee give you?
The ball.
It's just giving you the ball to do what? Take out, right? Just taking out. So you start, and that person or that team starts the offensive play again. All right, so after the 17th foul, personal foul and a half, the person's foul will be given a bonus free throw. If you make the first bonus free throw, you receive a second free throw. If you miss the first bonus free throw, the ball should be played like a missed field goal. After the 10th team foul, 10th team personal foul and a half, a personal foul will be given two free throws, commonly referred to as the super bonus. Intentional foul involving intent to foul a person to foul intent to foul as opposed to trying to play the ball, which awards the person a foul and 2 free throws and team possession of the ball after free throws. Okay, a personal foul is what? If you foul somebody hard, right? So if you go into the goal and you foul somebody above the shoulders, that's a personal foul. If you foul somebody above on their hip, that is a common foul, unless you push them out of the play. All right, so you got to be careful. You got to know which foul goes for what, because sometimes you have to ask the referees, wait, why are we giving that person that foul or are we giving them that call? They have to explain to you why. All right. Intentional foul involving intent to foul opposed to trying to play the ball, which awards the person a foul, 2 free throws, and team possession of the ball after the free throws. That means that person gets 2 shots and the ball. That's big. Technical, involving a delay of game, unsportsmanlike conduct, illegal entry, and excessive timeouts, with the offended team being awarded 2 free throws and the ball of out of bounds. Now, one thing that could get you that, and it happened last year. One of my players, he got called. He got called with a foul. He was leaving the court because he was upset. So he pulled his jersey out. He pulled his jersey out. He untucked his jersey, and he was going to sit down. When he untucked his jersey, the referee gave him a technical foul. So remember that, guys. You cannot, if you pull your jersey out before leaving the court, you will get a technical foul if you leaving the court bad. All right, positions and descriptions. You need to know the name of each position as well as it is corresponding the number and typical abilities that the player would possess. Point guard. Guess what? The point guard, everybody take a look at this on your paper. The point guard is the best ball handler and passer on the team. Shooting guard, the best outside shooter on the team. Small forward, a good shooting, rebounding, and driving to the basket athlete. Power forward, best rebounder, typically is a very strong defensive player. And center, typically the biggest player, stays close to the basket and a great rebounder. All right, moving. Well, we're gonna run through the terminology. I was gonna pass by the terminology, but I think you guys need to know the terminology of the game so you can know when you see this on the test how to answer it. All right, and I'm gonna go through it quickly. Assist: a player by an offensive player to a teammate that leads directly to a score. I love that. I love that aspect of the game because I look for somebody to give an assist before trying to do it themselves. All right, baseline, the end of the line. Blocking out, a term used to designate a player or player's position under the backboard. Blocking out, a term used to designate a player's position under the backboard, which prevents an offensive player from achieving good rebounding position. Charging, a personal contact against the body of an opponent by a player with the ball. Cut, a quick offensive move by a player trying to get free for a pass. Denial defense, aggressive individual defense where the defensive player works hard to keep the offensive player from receiving the pass. Double dribble, when one person dribbles, stops, and picks up the ball and starts to dribble again, or dribble with two hands simultaneously. Dribble, a process of bringing the ball down the floor or moving the ball from place to place using the finger pads to tap the ball. And when it says finger pads, it means these finger pads on your hand, your tips of your fingers, and your palms of your hands. Drive, an aggressive move toward the basketball player with the ball. Fake, using a deceptive move with the ball to pull the defensive player out of position. Fast break, moving the ball quickly down the court in order to score before the defense can set up. Field goal, a basket scored from the field worth 2 points unless outside the 3-point line. Somebody asked me about that yesterday. What was that? And that's what that term does. That's what field goal means. Free throw, the privilege given a player to score 1, 2, or 3 points by underhanded throw. Layup, a shot where a player releases the ball close to the basket. Pick, a special type of screen where a player stands so the defensive player slides to make contact. Pivot, take place when a player who is holding the ball steps once or more than once. Press, a team's attempt to take the ball away from their opponent before they can set up. Rebound, when a shot bounces off the backboard or basket, it is pulled down by a player. Steal, a defensive player takes the ball from the offensive team, Team's back court, the part of the court containing the opponent's basket. Team's front court, the part of the court containing the team's own basket. Telegraphing the pass, which I hope a lot of people are able to do when we get ready to play games. And it's indicating where you are going to pass by looking or signaling, throwing, a method of putting the ball in play from out of bounds, traveling when the player is in possession of the ball, and violation is an infraction of the rules resulting in a throw-in. All right, guys, that's it. You guys have a lovely day. And last but not least, we're going to talk about basketball skills, dribbling, keep a staggered balance stance, bend at the waist and the knees to be crouch position. Keep your weight balance on the balls on your feet. Keep your head up. Do not look at the ball. Keep your wrists relaxed and cup your hands slightly. Dribble the ball by pushing with finger pads, not the palm of the hand. Never bounce the ball higher than your waist. That means some people like to bounce the ball this high, but you don't want to do that. You want to control dribble. Control dribble is here where you're able to control the ball. Never use the non-dribbling arm and hand to protect yourself from defenders while dribbling for speed dribbling. Keep the body more upright, leaning only slightly forward. Push the ball forward, out in front of you, out in front of you of the ball. The faster you are running, the further forward you should push the ball. Passing and catching, chest pass. Stand with your feet shoulder width apart, and that's right here. I wish you guys could see my feet, but my feet are shoulder width apart, and I'm able to make a pass standing my ground. Stand with your feet shoulder width apart, your knees slightly bent. Hold the ball with both hands with your fingers or the sides of the ball and your thumbs behind the ball. Hold the ball at chest level with your elbows out to the sides. Step forward when executing the pass. Extend your arms outward and flip your thumbs downward. And that's this side, this section here. That's where we are at. All right, so step forward when executing the pass. Extend your arms outward. Flip your thumbs, and when you passing, you want to flip your thumbs down. When you passing, this is the flip down motion right here. Focus your eyes on the target and follow through in the direction of your partner's chest. Safety point, never throw the pass unless the catcher is looking at you and expecting the pass. Bounce pass, same as the chest pass, except as follows. Keep your elbows to your side. Your elbows should be here with a bounce pass. You pushing down. Focus on a point on the floor, two thirds of the way between you and your partner. Extend your arms forward toward the spot of the 2/3, and that's right here. Step forward and follow through toward that target spot on the floor. Two-hand overhead pass. Hold the ball with both hands above the head with your elbows out to each side, and that's when your hands are here and you're flipping the ball over. Extend the arms and flick the wrists with your fingers pointing down. Focus on a target, on your target. I'm sorry, focus on a target on your partner's shoulders. Release the ball at the forehead. So when you release the ball, you should be here, down at the forehead. Keep your eyes focused on the ball. And the last section, shooting, layups. Dribble the ball, dribble the basketball, approaching the basket at an angle, at a distance of 2 strides away from the basket. For a right-handed layup, pick up the ball with the left hand in front and under the ball. So if I'm laying it up, I'm picking the ball up and then I'm going up. Place the right hand on top of the ball, slightly behind the ball. Bring the ball to the shoulder and the head height as the left foot pushes off the floor. bring your right knee up. So every time you land up the ball with right hand side, I'm going off. You're supposed to go off your left foot. When you go off your left foot, that is that is a correct layup form. Place the ball rather than throw it against the backboard, aiming at the inside of the box painted on the backboard. Follow through with the palm of the right hand high in the direction of the intended target. Reverse hands and feet for a left-handed layup. Jump shot. Square the body towards the basketball. So if you're taking a shot, my body needs to be square with the goal. If I'm looking at the basketball goal, I'm definitely square. My feet are pointed directly to the goal. Right-handed shooters should place the right hand underneath the ball using their left hand on the side of the ball for balance. So if I'm shooting, this is the perfect shot. Your hand on the back of the ball, the other hand on the outside of the ball. When you shoot, it should be on a perfect angle. Bring the ball slightly above and in front of the head, cock your wrist, and jump upward. Release the ball at the top of your jump and follow through in the direction of your target. After release, snap your wrist downward, pointing your fingers at the basket. That is today's lecture on basketball, and this week we will be in the on the outside court learning some more movement and some more direction with the ball. Thank you.